why I'm so excited about this conference, why I really wanted to be here today. Because that's exactly what you're doing right here in Los Angeles. With your 10,000 strong initiative, I almost said 100,000, sorry. 10,000 is really good. You've secured commitments from nearly 150 businesses and public sector organizations to hire 10,000 veterans by 2017. And I really, really want to commend you for doing this the right way. Because you're not just talking about hiring these veterans. You're talking about retaining them and giving them a chance to grow in the years ahead. Yes, you're doing it the right way. You're recruiting volunteers to work with veterans on their resumes, holding mock interviews. You're focusing on good jobs, jobs in healthcare and entertainment, jobs in engineering, finance, and so much more. So I want to applaud Mayor Garcetti's office and United Way of Greater Los Angeles for heading this charge. And as if hiring 10,000 veterans wasn't enough, this community is also tackling a problem that this country has tacitly accepted for far too long. And that is homelessness among our veterans. So when I heard that this mayor was joining the mayor's challenge to end veteran homelessness by the end of 2015, I couldn't have been more excited. I really couldn't have been more excited. Because we can't end homelessness without all of you. More than 1 out of every 10 homeless veterans in America lives right here in Los Angeles, as the mayor said. And that's more than any other community in the country, more than 6,000 veterans in total. And I know that's a big number. And make no mistake, it is an aggressive goal. But we have seen time and time again that if you break these numbers down, if you work on the ground with landlords to find open apartments, with developers to build new housing, if you rally community groups and congregations and businesses around this issue, then this problem becomes imminently solvable. That's what they realized in Phoenix, Salt Lake City, where they've already effectively ended chronic homelessness among their veterans. And down in New Orleans, they've committed to end all veteran homelessness in the next 6 months, and they are on track to do it today. And here in LA, the United Way, the Chamber of Commerce have brought public and private partners together for this incredible program called Home for Good. And together you have housed more than 9,000 veterans since 2011. And on top of that, I want to applaud voters and legislators here in the state for voting to authorize $600 million toward housing for veteran families.
Hi everyone, this is Osiris with Cover City News, Ankh Entertainment, Stones in the Color of Rare, and at 15 Minutes, the show host. I have the great pleasure, not only beautiful, but a very bright woman. Her name is Elise Buick, even though it's spelled B-U-I-K, she says it's Buick, just like the car. And Elise is the director of United Way Los Angeles, and she is going to talk to us a little bit about what it feels being a female, being a director of such a large organization, and coordinating that organization to be really supportive of veterans.
Well, thank you for having me.
Just look at me.
I've been the CEO of United Way for 8 years now, but I've actually been with the United Way for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
You mentioned being a female leader. I worked my way up through the ranks.
Where did you start out in United Way?
I started out as VP of Marketing, so I really encourage young women to, I never thought I would be in this job and never thought I could do it, so I think it's important for up-and-coming young women to know that they can rise through the ranks. I'm a big proponent of that. And I'm just very passionate about issues across the county related to people that live in poverty. So at the United Way, we really focus on 3 things. We focus on homelessness, we focus on increasing the graduation rate, and we focus on jobs for low-income families and veterans.
Now, United Way has been around a long time. I personally, and I'm sure other people, didn't know the United Way had this kind of reach into the community. How can people in the community help to support you in doing a better job in outreach in our communities here?
Well, I think a lot of people don't know we're tackling poverty-related issues, and so on our website, which is www.unitedwayla.org, we have a lot of ways people can get involved. And I think with the issues that we're trying to tackle, we really need everyone to step up. Every donation, no matter what size, helps. We need volunteers. And we also do a lot of advocacy now, of really advocating for changes in our schools with homeless individuals. And so people can help us in terms of signing on to letters, talking to their elected officials. It's a great help.
Now, what about how are women, not to discount men, but how are women being helped by United Way specifically? There are a lot of female vets like myself.
Absolutely.
We're in media and entertainment. There wasn't a lot of support for me. I've had to, go through tons and tons of things. So how do you encourage people that want to step outside of the more traditional markets of work and do things like be in media, be in broadcasting, women on the camera? We're here today, there's 2 women on the camera. So how does United Way, how do you see that happening in the future?
I think part of it is putting a face on the issue. A lot of people don't realize that 40% of our homeless population are women and children.
Are you serious?
And so part of it is putting a face on the issue. And then to your point, there are special needs of women. And so we really try to look at how does it differ in terms of what a woman and her children need in terms of housing, in terms of jobs, like you said, in terms of an education. On the job front, we agree with you. We really try to build a diverse pipeline for women. One of those partnerships is with the County Federation of Labor.
And what is the County Federation of Labor?
So they run all the union jobs in LA, and so those types of jobs include everything from teaching to truck drivers to construction jobs to welders, electricians, and we might in the past have thought of those as male-dominated jobs. Those are good-paying jobs, oil refineries, and so we're trying to offer an array of options for women because at the end of the day, them having access to those opportunities is critical.
Now, my question to that women is that how do we entice women or people in general to go into jobs that they consider to be boring? Or, like, why would I want to be a metal fabricator or some of those men's jobs? How do you, as a female yourself and as a CEO, how do you encourage women to take some of the traditional male jobs and make them female jobs?
I think we try to really assess what women's passions are and then match them to those types of jobs. And I think we also try to expose them to, so many women are working poverty level jobs, and as you know, they work 2 or 3 jobs. They don't get to spend any time with their children because of that. And so we really try to put an emphasis, get a great paying job with benefits, and that's really going to be a game changer. And I see with business leaders, they really are promoting more females into management. And so where we started this interview, you might start as a pipe fitter or a welder, but a lot of women move up through the ranks into management positions because of their natural talents. I think women are great managers and leaders. And so,
we are.
I think if people can just look at it for the long term, it often benefits in terms of how they rise through the ranks.
Now, also rising through the ranks. Now, I heard you're a single mom.
No, I
you
do
were
have
a
a
single.
husband.
Yes,
but I have 2 sons.
You have 2 sons. That's what it's reading. Now, how has it been being a married woman, raising 2 sons, being committed to United Way, trying to get other women involved and people in general, and running something that involves the whole county of LA. That must be some kind of interesting experience.
It's hard. My son's here today, thank goodness. But I think that what female leaders like myself have to do is be honest. It is challenging, and things do suffer. Sometimes it's my job, sometimes it's my kids, sometimes it's my husband. We can't do it all, and I think young women need to realize those trade-offs as they take on more responsibility, and everyone has to weigh those personal choices for themselves, but it's a struggle for me.
My second question, my next question would be, being that kind of struggle for a woman, having children, being married, and still holding down a full-time position, and especially with your position was incredibly demanding. Would you encourage women to make different choices about when to decide to be a mom, or when to go into the workforce and when not to go into the workforce? Or is that something that happens, or is that something that you talk to women about?
I do mentor some young women, and I just say you need to be deliberate and not buy into the myth that you can have it all, and there are trade-offs. And so I do think women have to be intentional about when are they going to dial their career up and when are they going to dial it down. How do you fit kids in? How do you have a supportive husband? I really admire the single moms, because I don't know how they do it.
Okay.
So, I think as women we just have to support each other.
Well, I am incredibly honored to have met you face to face. And would you give someone, how do we contact you? Do you have a Twitter handle, LinkedIn page, Facebook, any of those things that women, as we go out into the work world, into the world in general, can tell people how to find you to help themselves?
Absolutely. I am on Twitter, and I am on Facebook.
What is your Twitter handle?
It is at Elise Buick. So I welcome a dialogue with the women of Los Angeles, and happy to help however I can.
All right, and do you guys have a Facebook page?
We do.
I know you said the website. So.
Yes, so I'm on Facebook under my name, and then United Way has a Facebook page as well.
Okay,
so we're
great.
doing a lot more on social media. We would love to hear from the women of Los Angeles.
That is wonderful. Thank you for your time. You are just a charm, and I'm so happy to have met you.
Likewise, and I think we may have met. Were you at the Veterans?
I was with Stephanie Stone, and I was up in the front as usual, trying to get the media done. All right, this has been Osiris with Cover City News.
Thank you.
The idea that any of our veterans are spending months or even years struggling to find a job is unacceptable. And the image of even one of these heroes sleeping out in the cold, huddled up next to an overpass, that should horrify all of us, because that's not who we are. And the truth is, we know that there are simple steps that we can take, whether that's in a business or government or in our communities, to prevent and solve these kinds of problems. My husband has led the way to developing and devoting historic levels of funding and resources to helping our vets transition back to civilian life. Unemployment. We've started new programs to help veterans get civilian licenses for jobs they did in the military. Through our Joining Forces initiative, we have rallied businesses to hire or train more than 500,000 veterans and military spouses. And we've launched a one-stop website to connect veterans to employers looking to hire them. And any business or organization here today or out there listening that wants to hire vets should sign up today at ebenefits.va.gov.
Good morning, everyone. This is Osiris with the Cover City News on Entertainment and Stones and the Color of Her blog. I am, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how excited that we are to be hanging out at the Hyatt Regency Hotel here in beautiful Century City, and I am speaking to Rick Reyes, who is the unemployment or employment veterans employment coordinator for United Way. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so being a veterans coordinator for United Way, how is that? You know, just trying to coordinate a bunch of veterans, which I hear that 20% of our Los Angeles County are veterans that are unemployed and need employment. So how does it feel being a person to spearhead that?
Well, there's definitely a need among the veteran community who haven't been able to successfully gain employment after their time in service. What I do specifically with United Way is that I work with our 21 veteran service organizations who are already currently training veterans and ensuring that they're work ready. And then what I do is facilitate the hiring process into the employers who committed to hiring veterans.
And then what is required for the vet to do in order to be a member of the program, like for United Way? I'm a vet, I don't know much about United Way, but what is required of United Way? I mean, I know of United Way, but you know how you're outside looking in.
Right.
So what are the parts that veterans can play?
Well, if a veteran comes to me because he needs a job, then what I'll do is I'll first get a better understanding of his current situation, whether there's a housing issue, whether there's a healthcare issue, or if it's just an employment issue. And then I redirect the veteran to a veteran service organization that's providing services to meet those specific needs. Once the veteran is part of the program for these veteran service organizations, then I can communicate that information over to employers who are committed to hiring veterans and ensuring that the veteran is ready to begin work.
Now, I know our mayor, Eric Garcetti, has been really, really gung-ho and definitely in charge of making sure that veterans have a voice here in Los Angeles County and that they are heard. How is United Way and yourself working with our mayor, Eric Garcetti, to ensure that these jobs get handed and that they go where they're supposed to go?
Right, and we work very closely with Mayor Garcetti. As you know, Mayor Garcetti is going to be at our event today.
He's a vet too, isn't he?
He's currently serving in the Navy, yes. He's a vet.
Oh, wow. So he's in the reserve?
He's in the reserves.
Wow.
Yes. And which is really important to have the mayor of Los Angeles be someone who's serving himself. He's a great advocate, a great voice to the veteran community, and it just exemplifies that veterans are they're not a charity case. These aren't people who are vulnerable, who need a helping hand. These are people who have skills, who have talent, and they're ready and committed to serve.
And I also know that it's really hard for some vets to come out being a vet because of the stigma that goes along with being a veteran. People that think you're crazy, or if you've retained some issues from being in the military. There's a lot of people that automatically, when they hear you're a vet, their minds go negative. So how do you address those sorts of things?
That's a stigma that we're battling on an everyday basis. What United Way is doing is taking a different approach into dealing with the veteran population. We're making the case that these veterans are not done serving. Just because they've taken off the uniform doesn't mean that they're done serving. You have veterans who leave the military and are continuing to serve in their communities. They're leaders, they're talented. They need to repurpose their skills, and they need a new mission. So what we're doing at United Way is giving that opportunity. And once given that opportunity, these veterans are excelling and doing amazing things.
Now, is there a cultural division of veterans, like in the Latino, Hispanic communities, in the African American communities, and others? Is there a cultural division? Meaning that, is there certain things allocated for veterans, administering to veterans in those particular cultural groups? Does United Way address those kinds of things, or no?
I don't think we need to, because
we're all vets.
It is something that it's not an issue that we deal with. As a veteran, yeah, we're all veterans, and we don't look at skin colors, religious beliefs, sexual orientation. We're committed to the belief that we never leave our buddies behind. So veterans tend to work together for that reason, and which is why it's a trait that employers should be looking at, because this is a group that can work in a very diverse community and who can make order out of chaos. These are very employable skills that employers are not tapping into or they're not realizing. These are leaders. These are leaders, and oftentimes when a veteran discharges from the military, on average, they're a non-commissioned officer, which is the equivalent to a manager or supervisor.
Absolutely.
So these are people who are ready to lead, who are committed to lead, can work with a very diverse group of people, and who are very mission-oriented.
And then what is your final, you know, on a daily basis, what are you required to do? I mean, as a veteran yourself, you got to be sensitive to certain needs and everything. So what is it required for you to do in order to do your job effectively?
Well, we work with the mayor very closely. We're also part of the 10,000 Strong Initiative. United Way is committed to hiring 5,000 veterans. I work with our veteran service organizations. I work with our corporate partners. But what's very unique about my position is that I'm also able to work with the building trades, the union trades, who have really stepped up and to support our veterans as well, and getting veterans into the apprenticeship programs who are interested in carpentry or working with electricians, cement masons, or what have you. They've really stepped up and also made a commitment to support these veterans. And you have some apprenticeship programs within the building trades who are already doing great work for our veterans. Now it's about bringing all the apprenticeships together, bringing them all to the table, and commit to one cohesive plan that we can all follow.
Now, the final question I have is, how did United Way get so involved in working with veterans? Because I know a lot of people have, you know, maybe misconstrued about what United Way does. So a lot of people, would you explain how United Way became to be such a major player in terms of assisting the mayor and people like yourself to get veterans' voices heard and our needs met?
Well, because when you leave the military, you have a difficult time translating the skills and the experience that you've gained in the military into something that an employer can understand. What often happens is that many of these veterans begin to fall through the cracks. United Way's mission is to create pathways out of poverty, and what often happens is that these veterans fall into that area where they're faced with financial hardships, healthcare disparities, homelessness. United Way is committed to supporting a population of individuals who need that support and who need that assistance. Veterans are a great resource, and if you support a veteran, it's not necessarily charity that you're providing, you're investing, because that investment is going to come tenfold, where these are going to be individuals who are going to be leaders in the community, leaders in the political world, leaders in the business community, nonprofit, you name it. These are people who are ready to lead and take the charge and do what they can to continue serving in their communities.
And how long have you been with United Way? It's nice to know that you're there, by the way. How long have you been with United Way, and how did you yourself build up to becoming the employment development coordinator for United Way as a vet?
Well, United Way has already been doing a lot of great work around the housing issue. They've been supporting homeless veterans for quite some time. My position in particular is a very new position. I've only been with United Way for 3 weeks. So it's a very new space that we're exploring, but the results have been amazing. The response has been incredible. People are responding very positively. The nonprofit community is responding, the business community is responding, and also the union trades are responding. So everyone's really anxious to get to work and figure out how can we get veterans employed.
Right. Now I know that your time is limited and you need to go and interview with other people. What I'd like for you to do is to give us your website, give us any Twitter handles you may have, give us anything that someone can get in touch with you. If there's a vet lying somewhere helpless, doesn't know where to go, how would they find, how would they get access to getting it to you?
Our Twitter, United Way's Twitter handle is @LA United Way.
Okay.
Mine is _Reyes.
And that's R-E-Y-E-S, right?
R-E-Y-E-S.
Okay.
You can find me on Twitter or hashtag United for Vets, and that's the number 4 vets.
Okay.
And
your website is?
the website is unitedwayla.org.
Okay, thank you. This has been a great interview with Rick Reyes, Employment Development Coordinator for United Way. Thank you, Mr. Reyes. This is Osiris signing off. Cover City News, Entertainment. It's a wrap.